everyone. It's Sandra Ganley back with you again for episode 6 of the Country Chats podcast. I can't believe that we're already on episode 6, and I'm delighted. We're going to change it up today. We've had a good few females on the show so far, but today I'm delighted to have a male in front of me. Well, not technically in front of me, as you all know, we're social distancing and we're via Zoom, but I'm delighted to have Paschal McAnenly with me here live. How are you, Paschal?
Good. Thank you very much for having me.
Delighted now, man. We have to get the males involved as well. You know, the only
I know.
male singer, the only other male I had was Declan Flanagan, the dance teacher. So you are our first male singer.
Oh God, not too sure that's so good to go by now, to be honest. But here we go.
Well, we're delighted to have you. So yeah, how are things? We have a few things to talk about, I suppose, but how have you been finding things, I suppose, over the past year? I mean, obviously it's been tough, and it's been tough on your family as well, I know, but overall it's been a hard year for everyone, but it has been a hard year for yourself as well.
It has been, to be honest, this past year, I suppose the first lockdown came in last March. That was when we were just in the middle and the start of the live shows of Glór Tíre. And I suppose we were at the second live show, leaving that Tuesday night, going, you know, will we be back here next week? Will we not be? No one had any idea, to be honest. But to think what we faced from last March to currently where we are today, it's a crazy world, to be honest. Unfortunately, our own family has been struck extremely bad by coronavirus. I unfortunately lost an aunt just there on the 22nd of December. A young, fit woman at 43 years of age with not one underlying health condition. So it's been a cruel cross to carry, and I'll not lie about that. It's definitely took a lot out of me, myself, and our entire family. Nirla was, I suppose, she was that person that made everything okay. She was there when you had a mad notion of doing something. For example, I ran a Christmas concert in December 19, and it was a mad notion. One night I just decided, you know, wonder should I do it, should I not do it? Didn't know. And Nula was the first person I happened to say to, and she was like, why would you not? And she drove the road and basically sold 500 tickets for that show that night. So like, that's a massive part of my life that's now gone and taken from us, and unfortunately that is life, and we're going to have to try and live on and live in the life that she would want us to live, but it's not easy.
I know, of course, naturally. Well, hopefully she's looking down, she's happy, she's getting a shout out on the Country Chats podcast. No, it has been tough, and obviously look, it has affected everybody in many ways, but you know, it is a reminder that we need to stay safe, and we're thinking of you and your family. So I suppose in around that hard year, obviously then the music was gone for you as well.
Yeah,
obviously that picked up for you with your extended year of Glór Tíre.
I know.
Usually Glór Tíre would be what, maybe 4 months, 3 months?
Yeah, well, it would usually start the first Tuesday in January and end up the last Tuesday in March. So
yeah, so about
3 months it was banged out, and then really that was it. It's been very unusual. I suppose we're probably lucky compared to this year's group of contestants. We had the opportunity of having 2 live shows with a full live audience. And when that's gone and taken from you, it's such a different show. You're standing on a stage, basically isolated. You don't really know what's going on. You can't get an energy. You can't get any sort of sense of not even wanting to be there, but you've no sense of actual enjoyment in it. Mm-hmm. The semi-final night was very tough. The final we enjoyed a lot more, because I suppose the voting lines were closed, the voting was done, whatever was going to happen was going to happen. So we just went out and enjoyed it. Whereas the semi-final, it was very difficult now coming back and trying to get a momentum built up. It wasn't easy. And to be honest, personally, I never thought I was going to go anywhere, to be honest. I was like, you know, I'm in this with 3 Southerners, the wee Northerner up here that's coming down to Galway, and he's never going to go anywhere. And that was always in the back of my head. I was like, how am I ever going to win this in the middle of 3 Southerners? Like, but here I did, and the public got behind me, and I'm so glad the outcome was what it was.
Well, I'm delighted you've said you've touched on the fact that it was hard. You know, most people would probably be saying, oh, sure, wasn't it great that you got back singing and you got to do a live performance after so many months. But I'm glad you've said, it was hard. Now I suppose the only plus going was the venue isn't too big.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's true. And here, like, don't get me wrong, it was amazing to be back in front of live cameras, live TV, the crew and the band. Like, everyone was unbelievable, and the support was so good. Everything was really safe. But it was hard, and I'm not going to lie about that. I do feel for this year's contestants going on the stage with nothing to bounce from. And you were allowed really nobody with you, so you were sort of there just on your own, and it was to win, especially the night that I won it. Went off a stage and you were speaking to people on the phone, and that was it. So you sort of just it all fell flat again, and I suppose unfortunately that's just the nature of the business at the moment. Mm-hmm. But here there's better days ahead and brighter days ahead, so we'll have to look towards them. Yeah, look, obviously it's a massive deal to win, absolutely. But I was only thinking that earlier before our interview. I was thinking, God, when you won, you celebrated just with a handful of people that were there, and it wasn't actually your family. Like, obviously you've got to know the other contestants through the scene and through Glór Tíre and some of the band members. But yeah, I can imagine that would have been hard. Hard to, a bit weird, like. Definitely, no, it definitely
and obviously Jim was there. Jim Devine was your mentor.
Yeah.
And well, obviously, you said there you were nervous about, you didn't think you'd get to the final or anything like that. But obviously the North tend to have the most winners on Glór Tíre, don't they? And Tyrone especially.
They do. Funny enough, they do. Like, I suppose, like, when you look back, Liam Kelly won it, Lauren McCrory, which is a very good friend of mine, won it. And then myself. So obviously there's 3 from Tyrone. Obviously you've John Rafferty as well. So it has been very good for the North. How, I don't know, but obviously maybe the North's not as tight as the South. Maybe is that what it is? I don't know.
There's something up there in the waters, maybe up there in Tyrone or something. I actually, of all the counties in the North, Tyrone is probably the one I know the best, because I'd actually go up there for a good bit of work up to Omagh and Pinchina. So,
yeah.
And I always stop into Asda. I am stone mad about Asda because we don't have it down the south, and I absolutely love going up to Asda. That's my treat at the end of a day's work. Which is funny. But no, so obviously, yes, Glór Tíre, absolutely brilliant to win. But there was, it was hard. It was hard. Yeah. But I mean, what a run to get out of it, a full year. It was over a year. Wasn't it October?
Well, it was over a year. Like, we recorded the very first ones sometime around I think it was the 10th of October, maybe.
Yeah, I remember. I was at the first.
And then the final was the 17th of November.
That's crazy.
Over a full year later. I know it's mad. We'll go down in the history books anyway.
Absolutely. Now, I suppose that would have been your first live gig back then, the semi and the final, was it? Or did you have any random
there was in between
lives or
in between? To be honest, I've never done a Facebook Live. I don't know why. I've just never. Not that I've had any interest in it, and I've never sat long enough to be like, you know what, I really want to do this. I love watching other people's, and then I'm like, I don't know whether I could be bothered doing that. And it's probably more the effort to put into it, to be honest, and performing to the camera and nobody there. But I can't remember what you asked me now.
I can't either. Isn't that gas? That's a good sign if we can't remember what we're asking each other, because we're getting too tied up in it. I was asking about live performances. I have noticed though that you have a lot up on your YouTube. You have been you've been posting videos up there, be it songs you already released. And you also have, I came across some lovely ones of you singing in the church, and I'm guessing that was aimed at your wedding packages and how you can sing at weddings and church.
Well, I suppose from March till November till the first live show come back again, I had a number of weddings. I would sing at weddings, funerals, sort of locally and a bit further afield. But apart from the odd wedding, it was really all I had. The diary was just up the left is the only word for it. It just, like, I have a bride at the moment that's in her 7th date. It's just crazy. Like, it is crazy just to think that people are changing so much, and in the hope of a better day and a bigger day ahead. But unfortunately at this stage, it's not even looking likely that there's going to be any numbers at weddings this year. So it's sad for for everyone in the industry to think that it's practically a 2-year diary wiped out. And when it's coming back, nobody knows. But I am lucky in one sense that I have weddings and the funerals still to keep me ticking over. I do work also full time, so it's not that I'm left on the sideline with nothing. But it is good to have a few of them to go to and keep going.
It's great that the weddings, because I know obviously all country singers do different gigs here and there, but not all do weddings. As in they don't sell that they do weddings. So I think that's an added bonus when it comes to you. And obviously the funerals then is another side of things. My family is actually in the funeral business, so if I ever need a singer. But the other thing you touched on there was that you also have a full-time job, and I feel like it's very relevant at the moment, especially because a lot of country singers have, after being full-time in the music business, have had to go and get jobs. Then you had the job anyway, I think, didn't you?
I've always had a job, I suppose. Back when...
What do you do? What job?
Well, back when I came out of university, to be honest, I was sort of like, there's no point in placing all my eggs in one basket, because you never know what could go wrong. Not that I thought this was ahead, but you just never knew. At the moment, I'm currently working. Well, I'm there now just about 3 years. I work for Donnelly Jagger Land Rover in Dungannon. So I went there probably about 3 years ago. So I'm service team leader in it. So I have to say I love it. I just love dealing with customers, and I'm a people's person, so I just love the element of chatting to people and seeing people coming in and out, and making sure they're happy, I suppose. But no, I've been there about 3 years now, so I'm happy where I am at the moment, definitely.
That's great. No, that's absolutely brilliant, and it just shows the customer service and the people person bits obviously leads into your music and greeting fans and all that kind of thing. But I must say, fair play that you have kept your social media. I had a quick gawk at your social media and your YouTube and that before we chatted. Because I suppose a certain part of you could have said, I'll just focus on work now and keep going, but you kept the music going, which is great. And you've a serious amount of videos up on YouTube, even going back to 1 month, 2 months, 3 months ago. Which
I done.
You have to keep doing, I think, as well. Like, you can't.
I suppose it's probably maybe August last year. I recorded 4 videos with Eamon Karen down in Derry, just like 4 live videos. Just like a random notion that I wanted to do some sort of, just have something to do and look forward and enjoy. And they went, to be fair, they did go down really well. So I suppose with the nature of the business, if you're not active on social media, you're forgot about. And that's the only place at the minute you're going to be seen or heard. So it's all you can really do.
That's exactly it. And I suppose when I first set up this podcast back in April last year, I started, and then I took a little break. But when I first started it up, there was 2 reasons. First of all, I wanted to give artists like yourselves another platform, because obviously you've lost so many different platforms. So as you said, it's only social media now. So this podcast was another way of letting people in and letting them get to know you that little bit better, because as a presenter myself, I'd be used to interviewing the likes of yourself or any singers for 2, 3, 4 minutes. How's it going? What song have you out next? Tell us about your album. Where are you next weekend? But then somebody else will interview the same night, and it's the same interview kind of. So at least this way you get to know people a lot more. And so it was to give artists and dance teachers an outlet to talk. And as well as that, I was just mad to get back presenting and doing a bit myself. So it was mostly about you, but I'll be honest, I wanted to get back to it, keep myself busy. I suppose I might have said it in other podcasts, but if you're tuned in for the first time here on the podcast, I was a full-time dance teacher, social dance teacher, and obviously the dancing took a hit, no more jiving. And thankfully I was able to do summer camps during the summer when we got a bit of a breather, and I'm back doing online classes at the moment. But like that, I can empathize with the singers, because my gigs are all gone in terms of my dance teacher gigs, but also as a performer, because I'm an Irish dancer as well. I'd usually be on tours, so that's gone as well. So I can sympathize with you in that sense. But like you said, long-winded way around, you have to be keeping active on social media or some form of it, just to be there, isn't it? To keep your presence, because the longer it goes without these gigs, I think you have to keep trying new things. And I suppose Glór Tíre helped you in that sense. Naturally, you didn't have to try anything, you know.
Well, it just sort of fell back into place again. I suppose it was good in a way, definitely. At the time, was we thought, you know, is there any point even in doing this? Because what are we going to get out of it? And we'll leave it for another while. But do you know what? We are glad we done it. And at the end of the day, there's closure on it and it's finished, because it was just hanging there and nobody knew what was going on. So it was good to get back and get it done.
Yeah, and it was something for everyone to look forward to as well, watching it.
Definitely. To even watch a live band on the TV again, it felt so strange.
Yeah.
It was just like, crikey, that actually does exist. We used to do that.
I love watching it on TV because I'm sure. Had you been to the Keys before you actually performed?
Yeah, I've been to the Keys before.
Okay. So you knew what to expect, because my first time, I'd never gone before your group, because I'd always be working. I'd always be teaching it used to be a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, wasn't it? So I always used to be working. So I said no, I'd go, and I couldn't believe when I walked in the size of it. It doesn't.
I know. On TV, it looks massive. You go in and you're like,
it's so funny. So that's what we meant earlier by when I said it was good that the venue is small, that you didn't have to perform through a big empty room. Do you know, it's good in that sense. So so that's Glór Tíre tick.
Yeah, definitely.
So obviously it's been an up and down year, big positive having Glór Tíre, and thankfully you're working away, so that's good. Working away in your time job as well. So your day job, that's it, day job.
I know.
And I mean, it's obviously so hard to know where to go. But I suppose, well, looking back to how it used to be and how it will be soon, is there anything? Have you a favorite part of the scene, or a least favorite part of the scene, or kind of what do you find hard or really enjoyable? Because I think people sometimes go, oh, sure, you're in that music scene and sure, it's all great, and you're gigging every night and you're meeting people and you're getting to wear all these lovely suits.
That's definitely not the case. It might seem glamorous to the public eye, but it's far from it. The least the least favorite part probably would be, don't get me wrong, I love it and I love meeting people and I love seeing people, and here it's me, I would talk a leg of a stool. Anybody that wants to talk to me, I'll talk to them. I don't care who they are or what they are. But the least favorite part of the scene, to be honest, my good friend Alex Rowe actually touched on it last week or a number of weeks ago, is trolls and online trolls. Like, it's at this stage, it's got to the stage. It's just got to the stage that it's not even acceptable anymore. It's just ridiculous. The amount of messages you get from people that have just, I honestly don't know what they've got, what they're gaining from it or what they're getting from it. But like, I would say I would block people from my music pages and social media pages maybe up to 10 a week.
I'm in shock. I actually am, because I mean, I suppose when you look at all these bloggers with 20, 30, 40, 400,000 followers, you know, they get trolls and that's kind of a thing. But I would never have thought that it was this close to home with what I would consider locals. Like, I know you're 3 hours away from me, but I thought that the country music scene was better than that, to be honest.
I genuinely don't even know if these people are anything to do with the country music scene, to be honest. I just think these people are wanting to get out of their way to try and make somebody's day misery. Thankfully, I can dust them off and, you know, just... I don't even read them, to be honest. As soon as I see the first line of it, I don't even need to open it. I just block them. But if you were the type of person and the type of personality that let that in you, it would become so dangerous. And it really, really, really would. Like, to think of some of the messages people get, even just critiquing their singing, how they look, like, it's just, I couldn't even repeat any of them, to be honest. It's sad that there's people in this world that want to go out of their way to try and make other people's life misery. But do you know what? That, in one sense, as horrible it is, gives you such a, not an energy, but it gives you sort of a kick to go, do you know what, I'm better than that, and I am better than these people, do you know what, so I'm just going to go and do what I had planned on doing. But as I say, if you were the type of person that let that in you, it would become really, really dangerous.
I'm still in shock. I can't. And as you said, Alex Rowe, another singer, has experienced it too. Which, you know, I mean, how many other singers are experiencing
Definitely,
it?
yeah.
But I think you mentioned there that you don't think that some of them are involved in the country music scene, or
I really don't, to be honest.
I would guess that those that are doing the trolling and the bullying are those that don't go dancing, that don't go to the concerts, that don't go to the dances, and that don't take an ocean at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night to drive to Monaghan for a dance, like me, or, you know, who
I would have done that too.
Or who hop in the car and say, where do we go tonight? And just go. Like, I would, that's, God, I'm actually shocked. I did not think that was what you were going to say. I thought you were going to say something like late nights or something.
Well, that other than trolls, the only other thing that is difficult is the late nights and the traveling, and
but you get a buzz off that, I think, don't you?
You do, like, yeah. Well, if you're on your own, it's different. If you have somebody with you, you're flying. But here, most of the time, I would jump in the car and drive anywhere. If it was Cork, Kerry, Dublin, it wouldn't bother me. I would just drive. But no, other than trolls, really, like, it's, I have to say, it's I suppose I've grew up in that scene and grew up listening to country music all my life, that it just becomes second nature. But I think for someone that I do laugh at, like, people that you're friends with and people you meet and they like talk about jiving and like, God, you go jiving? What are you going jiving for? Like, that's an old man's thing. And you're like, God, it's really not. Like, you have no idea. Like, genuinely, like, the crack you have on nights out at dances is unbelievable, and the people you meet and the people that you aren't even in somewhat ways friendly with, that become your indirect friends, and you just keep meeting them, and everywhere you go these people pop up. But no, it is an unbelievable scene to be involved in and actually enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, were you ever, do you mind me asking what age you are, actually? Is that allowed?
I was about to say I was older than that. I'm 26. It's 26 past in August, so.
Lovely. Okay, so I'm kind of be the same age group, but were you ever into nightclubs or the pubs or like going for
I suppose growing up, yes, I did.
Because the friends were doing it, I suppose.
Yeah, well, growing up, I suppose I was about 15 or maybe 16, from about 16 to 18 probably, when I went to the odd few nightclubs. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of nights we went to the Four Seasons in Monaghan on a Sunday night and ended up in Spy in Monaghan town just because you didn't want to go home. But I could never say that I enjoyed nightclubs. Like, yes, I went to them. You have still memories for them. You have still nice crack in them, and you still look back and go, God, do you remember what happened that night? But from I was about 17, I was driving the roads with cousins, friends, going to dancing, and we were driving here, there, and everywhere. And it was just like, do you know what? This is a better night's crack.
Yeah, that sounds pretty much like my scenario, I suppose. Went to the nightclubs, but was never. I liked it, but there was never, you know, I'd done it because I suppose the friends were doing it, you know, and there was good crack and good memories. But so I suppose if you were going to dances when you were kind of 17, 18, that was before it kicked off big, wasn't it? This is before, that was back, I don't know about you, but it was when I first started going dancing, you might only have 5 or 6 like 17, 18-year-olds.
Oh yeah.
And everyone used to be like, look at them young ones.
I know. Like, I'll never forget probably one of the I probably wouldn't have been at going to dances long, to be honest. My granny, who lives just down the lane from me, decided I don't know for what reason, but she come with us. And we were in the Ryandale on the Moy. And I genuinely mean, like, if there was 5 other people under the age of 30, like, we were lucky. And I get our granny, I suppose granny would always have not taught me. She would have taught me how to waltz. Mummy would have, but granny would always been the one to tell me, no, geez, Rick, calm down here, you're doing that wrong. But like, granny at that stage was, early 70s, and she was like, "Do you want to get up and waltz?" I think it was Patrick Feeney from memory that was playing it. And we get up and waltz, and I swear, like after that, we sat down. There was all these wee women over. Do you want? Or would you take me for a waltz? And I was like, I can't do this. Like this is not happening. But the only other woman that I ended up waltzing with that night, which I'm sure probably half the country will know when I mention her name, was Margaret Bell.
Yes.
And Margaret was like, "Come on, sure, come out with me anyway." She says, "What else can happen?" She says, "All you can do is fall." But like when you think back to them days, to what it was just before lockdown come, where there was more young people than there was older people.
Mm-hmm.
It is crazy. But here, do you know what? It's a sign of the times and the sign of the young singers that are in the scene and the fresh blood that's injected into it. Like without that, I suppose you probably wouldn't have people going. And you have to say that the likes of your American country singers, like you've Luke Combs, you've Hunter Hayes, people like that have injected blood into the Irish country music scene as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And like, I love those that you've mentioned.
Yeah,
I love
like
it. I go to country to country every year, and
yeah, like people listen to Luke Combs and they get hooked in that sort of way. Yes, Irish country and American country is very different, but in a lot of ways it's very similar. Mm-hmm. Like if you actually strip the songs back, the both of them are very similar. So you have to thank, I suppose, the American country artists too, that they've made what the Irish country music scene is as well. As much as what we have, the American country artists have brought sort of some sort of sense of normality to it, and like everyone's sort of listening to Luke Combs now, whether they like country or not. Luke Combs is now cool. So it's done us over here our favours too.
Absolutely, it has. It's probably made country a little bit more cool. In terms of, I suppose, myself and yourself growing up would have always thought it was cool, you know, that was our thing. But yeah, for those that are only coming into the scene, they probably think it does make it a bit more cool. But I do definitely love the American, and I find that I'm playing a lot more American country this year because I haven't been able to teach jive and obviously partner dances. So I've been doing mostly line dancing. So I am using a lot more American country because I've been learning new line dances that are American, and I've been tuned in a bit more to it, funnily enough. And I suppose then there's not as much Irish country, new country music coming out. So
I was going to say that there's a lot more American country being released at the minute than there is Irish country.
Yeah, so that's definitely having an impact. So yeah, so you would have started going to the dances so around the same time as me. Like I always say, if you know you're in country a long time if you used to go to see Nathan Carter and Derek Ryan when there was only 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 people there.
Well, I'll never forget the night. The first night I ever met Nathan Carter was in a place called O'Hagan's Bar in Eskra. Now, there's people that will know it, and there's a lot of people that will never have heard of this place in their lives.
I don't need to have heard of it to know that it's probably quite small, is it?
It is, like, literally in the six is what we would call it. It's that remote and rural. There's nothing around it. There's a chapel up the road. There is literally nothing around it. And John Farry had only started managing him, and he pulled up in, I think it was like a wee like Nissan Corolla or something, or a wee Toyota Corolla or something. I can't even remember what it was. And he pulled, I was only maybe 13, 14 maybe at the time. And there was talk of this man, he's going to be the next big thing. He's called Nathan Carter, and everyone was sort of like, oh, right, very good. And that night there was 9 people at him. Like, and that, I suppose that I've always clung on to that hope in that sense. I was like, you know, Nathan Carter started with 9 people in O'Hagan's and Eskra, and he's now selling out the 3 Arena in Dublin, and he's selling out half the world. Mm-hmm. Like, you can do it if you want to do it. So like you have to give it to him that like he's become what he is with hard work and determination.
And it is hard work, I suppose. You know, if people aren't involved in the business in some way, be it singing or sound or a band or dance teacher or presenter or radio or TV, it can be hard to know the work that goes into it. But yeah, by God, the work goes into it. But it's all behind the scenes, of course. Everyone sees the stage person or the nice clothes and the the stage. They see them when they're performing. And I suppose I'm glad we've, you know, in this interview, I feel like we have touched on a lot of the realities, which is what I wanted this interview and podcast to be, because as I said, I didn't want it to be your standard interview about 4 minutes and tell us about all the great things that's happened in your life. I want it to be real, and a side of country music in Ireland and a side of the singers that people haven't seen before. Because obviously we can relate, people can relate to Irish singers anyway, because they're Irish, and there's the meet and greets, which is so different about the Irish country music scene. That, you know, meet and greets aren't, I don't think they're done really anywhere else. It's such a big thing.
Yeah, no,
part of the scene. So I feel like, you know, the realities of it need to be highlighted as well. And I think that the point you've made about the bullying and the trolling is something I'm guessing that will come up again. And it's going to be interesting to see will it come up again with other guests, because I'm trying to get a very broad range, you know, between younger artists, older artists, you know, I want to cover all age groups, and dance teachers as well. I'm going to talk, and I'm also going to talk to dancers, you know, because it's going to be interesting to get everyone's view and perspective on the scene. I suppose had enough time to think of it the last few months.
I suppose that's what makes it the scene it is the diversity of it. But no, it's not all glamorous. Whoever thinks it is very, very wrong.
Whoever saw all your nice suits on Glór Tíre. You had some fabulous clothes. You had a sponsor, I think, didn't you?
I did. Cuba Clothing in Dungannon and Oma sponsored me all the unbelievable suits, I suppose. I used to laugh. Alex Rowe will back me up on this one. He used to land down in Galway, and like the first thing he'd say, "What colour's your suit today?" And like it could have been, for example, the day it was wearing the pink one, I was like, "Oh, it's pink." He goes, "Oh no way, mine's pink too." And I was like, "Oh, here we go." And he used to laugh. He eventually told me at the final, whenever we come down the lift, in the hotel to head over for the dress rehearsal, he goes, "Do you know what? My girlfriend loves you." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, she like just loves your style. He says she thinks mine's shit. I was like, oh, that's not even funny. But no, I have to say that Cuba, and if anyone knows it or anyone has never been it, it's well worth the visit.
Do they do female clothes as well?
They do female clothes. They do female and male clothes. They do suits for men, but they do like casual wear for men and women. Their stuff's quite different, quite funky. You'll get your usual stuff in it, but it's just a different type of shop. And you'll definitely get what you want in it, but their suits are just unbelievable, as I'm sure you could see.
You'll be on commission now for that bit of a plug. You didn't even need to give the plug. All anyone had to do was see the fine suits that you modelled during the series, and enough said.
I know.
We'll have to tag them so now in this when I put it up on social media, give them a shout out. But no, it was lovely to get that support as well, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. And I suppose I had Cuba were on board from day one, and then just before the live shows, it was actually through work one day, one of the customers, and lo and behold, showed an opticians, and I wear glasses, and she was like, "You know, we would love to sponsor you a pair of glasses." I was like, "Oh well, here, happy enough.
Yeah,
I'll go with that." So Barrett Opticians in Dromore, which is Dromore, County Tyrone, sponsor me a new pair of glasses. But I have to say, like they do opticians next level. They just are so professional. It's run by two sisters, Claire and Trez, and you just literally feel like at home. When you go in, it's like a wee cup of tea and you sit down and there's no panic and whatever you want. And then there's every designer, every range, every type of glass you could think of. And like, it was just, it was unbelievable, to be honest.
Well, definitely, I tell you, this was your plan coming in, wasn't it, to talk about all your sponsors?
It wasn't even. It wasn't even. But here, do you know what? You get into talking like that.
Well, and I think it's all about shopping local as well, isn't it, these days?
Oh, definitely.
Support local. So we're only delighted to give them. So what was it again? The opticians and the clothes shop. So Cuba
Clothing in Dungannon and Oma, and then Barrett Opticians in Dromore, County Tyrone. I suppose I actually can't forget about Tommy Bow. Tommy Bow will be in a customer of ours and work. So he sponsored me clothes and shoes, and I got a parcel of stuff delivered to home one day, and I never even knew about it, to be honest. But it was so decent and thoughtful of him, to be honest, to even send stuff out. So have to give Tommy Bow, Next Three Kings, and Lloyd and Price a shout out to, I suppose.
You're flying. Do you want to give us a run through of your outfit today, or are you going? Are you going down the blogger route yet?
No. That wouldn't be me. That wouldn't be a bit of me now.
Oh, Paschal, I've really enjoyed talking to you. I feel like, obviously we've talked about the country music scene generally, but I just feel like you kind of gave us a bit more than you just gave us a bit more, which is what I wanted this whole podcast to be. And it's even been an eye opener for me. I've actually learned a little bit today as well, which was new, but I'm sure it won't be the last I'll hear about it.
No, definitely not. It'll. I would say if you chat to anybody and actually put that question to them, I would be surprised if anyone in the scene doesn't have online shows, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll definitely add it to my list of questions.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Definitely.
So if people do want to check you out on all the social medias, you have your YouTube channel anyway, which you're popping loads up on, and then you have your Facebook and Instagram.
So on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So I suppose I'll post literally the three of them of all the videos. There's nothing on any of them. It's not on all of them, to be honest. I usually just be like, do you know what, when I go to upload something, I'm like, do you know what, I may as well just upload the three, because you never know who sees it where.
Don't tell people that. Tell them there's different stuff on all of them, and then they'll go follow. If you want to go and check out Paschal's lovely clothing style.
Like my Instagram page, to be honest, is more lifestyle based than fully music. I suppose at the moment there's not really much music you can do with it. And I'm a fan of an odd quote or two. It just gets the mind thinking, and you never know what quote what they can bring, to be honest. You could find something anywhere, and that just sparks something in your mind, and that's it. Away you go and do it. But whereas my Facebook page is literally solely music, like
music and music.
Over Glór Tíre, people were probably scundered at one stage, going, "Is he ever going to give over? Like, this is getting too much." Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's all we had to go with. Like, yes, I had billboards up on roads, but realistically, if you sat back and thought about it, do you look at many billboards? Do you just fly past them? You see the big writing on it, and that's all you see.
I have a few posters that I will put out, when Mayo are in the All Ireland and that kind of stuff, for my different businesses. And you always wonder, do people? You put that question to your head, but I suppose
you still do it.
You do, exactly. You do what you do because it's the thing that everyone does. Or if you're doing leaflets, you're as well do a poster, and you're as well throw it into the paper, and you're as well go on to the like. It's just the done thing, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Like, out of all the contestants, I suppose, in this and last year's series, like, they were all doing radio interviews the weeks before it, and here was me sitting at home going, I haven't even pushed one radio interview, and when I genuinely mean I didn't do one radio interview, I done none. Like, other than a few of the local papers, it was literally all it was in. And like, they didn't do a massive splash, they didn't do a big editorial on it. At the very start they did, back before the live shows in March. That all died down and it was sort of forgot about. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go with social media, and whatever I make of it, I make of it, because it's all I can do right now.
It just shows, though, doesn't it, that it's not all about the try and tick every single box and do every single publicity thing. It shows that social media, and obviously social media is free.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the other bonus of it, but it does just show that, it doesn't always mean you have to do the whole shebang and spend money on advertising.
Well, it's like anybody, I suppose, starting out in this business or industry, going, just because your friend down the road that's 4 years older than you and that's in the industry 5 years has got the best PA system in the world, the best mixing desk, the best of everything, doesn't mean that when you start out that you need that to actually be seen.
Well, that sounds like me, because I'm here doing a podcast and I don't have a setup. I have a laptop and a pair of headphones. Because I mean, I think the sounds okay. I'm happy enough with it. And you know, to be honest, to the general public, people wouldn't pick up on sound or little bits. And if I think it's all right, I'm happy with it. But it just shows, you know, I could have gone out and spent 100 to 300 euro on a microphone and a pair of headphones, but I mean, I'm happy, plain and simple, you know. And
like it really is. That's the part that does worry sometimes, that there is people that go out in the industry that are actually very good singers but just fall off because they've invested a load of money in it. They haven't actually done their proper research or tried to build an audience, and then it's just like falls flat in its face. So like for anybody like that's listening that thinks, you know what, I'd love to be a country singer, I'd love to be a singer in general, do you know what, post videos from your house at home and get them out there, and then start
in your
building
bedroom
it.
or in the sitting room. You don't need
like you don't even need a microphone to sing into, because do you know what, at the end of the day, videos on Facebook and videos on social media can become very fake sometimes. Like sitting in your living room at home with a microphone and every effect on your mixing desk on it and you singing, that actually isn't your voice.
Yeah, and it can drown it out as well if you've got a mixing desk and a lot of music coming in behind you. It can.
So like you need to be real to yourself and strip it back and go, do you know what? If people like my voice with a guitar or like my voice with the piano with no effects and not even a microphone, well then, do you know what? They'll buy into it. But I suppose it's everyone's own idea and what they want to do. But I would genuinely tell anybody just to take it one step at a time, but just take baby steps and grow your audience organically yourself.
Yeah.
Because you'll feel the better for it when you sit and look at, you have figures and you have 1,000 followers, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. You're like, you know what, I grew them myself.
That's very good words there, especially as you said, for anyone that's listening and not even in terms of singing, just in terms of anything, you know. I know
any business, any type of life, there's no point firing everything you have at it and it never working out. Whenever you can try it organically and see how it goes.
Yeah, you can try, and you'll find sometimes things don't work and sometimes things do. Like I would find that a lot with I have 2 different businesses, and then I suppose just social media, things work. You know, you put up things sometimes and you might only get 10 likes and you're thinking, I thought that was going to do better, and then you put up something willy-nilly and it could get 100 likes and you're thinking, sure, what was that about? That was nothing like it. It just, you need to kind of take a step back, I think, and look, and in any business or any obviously we're discussing the music.
I suppose your content's and the massive thing. Like if your content's not there, people aren't gonna really look at it. And I suppose like even with posts, like if you put up a video, there's really no point putting up a caption with it because people don't read it. They just go and listen to the video and go on ahead.
That's true.
I do it myself if I'm looking at someone else.
I've even stopped using hashtags. Number 1, out of laziness, and number 2, because no one is going to read your hashtags anyway. I know it's more people, it'll come up on searches, but I've even stopped doing hashtags.
I know. Trying to beat the Instagram algorithm.
I don't understand. I can't even spell algorithm. I know. Oh God, geez, we've really we've ransacked the country music scene there. I think ups and downs and
here, like we have to look forward, I suppose, till it coming back.
Oh God, when I start thinking of the first dance, even the first concert, because my dance kit is 5 years old in March, and usually we have a big massive dance at the McWilliam Park Hotel, and I'm kind of hoping that I might be able to get a concert in September, October. And to think that could be a possibility is,
I know.
Nuts.
And here the first, like, I definitely can see the first dance is back. You'll be a dance starting at 11 o'clock. Everyone will be there at 6. Like, because there's probably going to be they'll be queued out the door.
How will it? And then like, what I just keep thinking is, how are we going to hold hands? Like, how it could be so weird to actually and hold on to someone for a waltz. Like, are we going to be like half holding on?
We actually joked with that the other night. Like, you know what? Can you imagine going back to dances and everyone getting rubber gloves on them? Like, just it wouldn't even work.
When the first lockdown came, the schools shut on the Thursday, Friday, and then the following week I knew we were going to be off work for 2 weeks. So I went into my local gym and I used the room and I videoed loads of how-to videos. I done like 20 or 25 videos, and I got my boyfriend Mihal to help me. Now Mihal isn't into the country music scene or anything like that, but he can kind of dance, and he wore gloves because he was like, oh, people will be watching this video and they'll be wondering. And I was like, yeah, but you're my boyfriend. I said, it's okay, we can hold hands. He wore gloves and I was mortified. I was actually mortified. This is March, and now I'm looking back, I don't give a damn because I wouldn't pass any heat of it, but he actually wore gloves. It's so weird dancing with plastic, but
I know
that could be the reality, like, you know, and I don't think anyone would care. Now, not the big yellow ones. We wouldn't wear the yellow ones. We'd wear nice clear ones
or something. I know. I don't know. It's just at the minute I just can't even see dance halls packed again.
No.
It's just so strange to think what was normal is probably going to be abnormal now. Yes, there'll be dances back, there'll be concerts back, but like in what scale?
Yeah, it'll have to be ticket only, kind of limited number.
Yeah, like a dance hall that holds 500, is it only going to let 200 in there? Or like what way is that actually going to work?
Well, my first thought is that'd be great because there'd be any amount of space to dance and you won't be bumping into anyone.
I know. Bouncing people around
so
the
I'm
floor.
all for that.
Yeah.
So it might be all
I don't know. They're going to end up having to do like, I don't know, more dances a weekend or something to try and get people,
like
so people can get them.
It'll be in the McWilliam Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with afternoon dances as well, just to cater for everyone.
I know.
I don't know. Like, we're here laughing about it, but that could be the reality of it, you know, to fit everyone.
Something's gonna have to change. Like, it's not, if they're not gonna allow numbers back and the scale of numbers, it's probably going to be mind-boggling. They'll be sitting at the minute probably thinking, how actually are we going to get around this, or how are we going to get back to normal?
Yeah, and it's not like there's any governing body, or it's going to be what singer makes the first move, kind of.
Yeah.
What singer is going to make the first move? Paschal.
Here.
Get your thinking caps on. If anyone has any suggestions, send them in, and we can start plotting and planning what's going to happen. But
I know.
Do you know, I think it's time now to go and have a cup of coffee, because as I said, we fairly thrashed out all aspects, the goods and the bads, and the ups and the downs, which is exactly what I wanted. So guys, you can go and check out the social medias and the YouTubes. So Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Go and give Paschal a follow and a like and a comment and all that good stuff, and check out his fancy suits. And go and follow the opticians, and go and follow Cuba Clothing as well. I'll be tagging them, so go and follow them. And Paschal, thank you so much for being the first male singer on the Country Chats podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
And you'd swear we knew, like, we've never met, so
no.
You wouldn't
know. We've never had a conversation in our life so far.
Not talked for about 2 minutes before we went recording. But that's the beauty of another side of the country music scene. You know, you feel like you know someone on social media, or you just, I suppose, when you're in the scene as well, like, look, I know I'm not a singer, and people out there be saying, you're not in the scene, you're not a singer. I consider myself to be, because I'm a social dance teacher, and then because I have the dance school Driving Juniors, and because I have the TV and the radio and all that. So I consider myself to be, but I feel then that's another connection that you have, and that's why it's so easy to come on and just start chatting as if you know each other for years.
It's the beauty of being Irish.
That's it as well, and having the gift of the gab.
I know.
We better go, or we'll be keeping everyone too long. People will be sitting in the car waiting to get out of the car so they can go inside after doing their shop. But no, thank you so much, Paschal, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And please God, we'll be chatting to you soon, or we'll meet you somewhere along the road.
Hopefully so.
Thanks a million, everyone, for tuning in. We'll chat to you soon.